Stand at the center of Stonehenge on the morning of the summer solstice, and the exact same thing happens every year. As the sun climbs above the horizon, it passes directly over the heelstone, a single massive upright block, and its light shoots straight down the monument's central axis to illuminate the altar stone. The people who pulled off this alignment didn't have written language. They didn't have wheels or metal tools or any formal system of engineering as we understand it. Placing these stones with such precision, tracking the sun's movement to within fractions of a degree, is an achievement that outlasts our entire recorded history, performed by a society that lacked even the most basic mechanical advantages. To understand how they achieved this, you have to realize that Stonehenge was a multi-generational project. Construction began around 3000 BCE, roughly 5,000 years ago. Look at this aerial view of the site today. Before the massive stones ever arrived, the very first iteration of Stonehenge was just that large circular earthwork, a simple ditch and a bank carved right out of the chalk of the Salisbury Plain. When archaeologists excavated inside that original boundary, they found dozens of pits containing cremated human remains dating back to that early Neolithic period. Long before anyone dragged a single massive boulder to the spot, the geography of this specific patch of land was already firmly anchored to the dead. This map shows the journey of the inner circle's smaller rocks, known as bluestones. Each one weighs between 2 and 5 tons. They came from the Preseli Hills in Wales, dragged 150 miles across rivers and forests. Then the larger sarsens arrived. Coming from the Marlborough Downs, they traveled 25 miles south, but each weighs 25 tons. Look at the sheer size of these pillars compared to the people standing next to them. Moving them required wooden sledges, knot rollers, and rope. Researchers estimate that extracting, transporting, and arranging this stone required over 20 million collective hours of human labor. This structure offers zero practical advantage for daily survival. To expend 20 million hours of grueling physical labor on it, their cultural or religious drive must have been overwhelmingly powerful. The builders shaped the massive stones before locking them into place, securing the horizontal top stones to the upright pillars using mortise and tenon joints. This technique is usually reserved for fine woodworking, where a projecting peg on one piece fits snugly into a carved hole on another. They even carved the horizontal lintels with a slight curve, shaping them to follow the exact arc of the circle. That takes precision craftsmanship on a massive scale. A recent archaeological study revealed that the site also holds a secondary alignment. 4 stones placed in a rectangle just outside the main circle, known as the station stones, successfully mark the positions of both the summer and winter solstices, as well as the northernmost and southernmost moonrises. These ancient people were operating as advanced astronomers and structural engineers. They tracked multiple celestial events simultaneously, executing complex geometry without a recognized system of mathematics. Archaeologists have 4 main theories for why this site exists. The first is that Stonehenge was part of a paired complex. About a mile away stood a matching wooden monument called Darrington Walls. The theory suggests the decaying wood represented the realm of the living, and the permanent stone of Stonehenge represented the realm of the dead, with ceremonial processions moving between them. The second is the solar observatory theory. Those precise alignments imply the builders tracked the sun's movements, serving as a reliable calendar for crucial agricultural planting and harvesting seasons. The third theory suggests it was a center for healing. Excavations have uncovered an unusually high rate of skeletons with injuries in the surrounding area. Plus, the site is littered with broken chips of the Welsh bluestones, suggesting prehistoric visitors broke off pieces to take home as portable sacred relics. Finally, a newer theory argues Stonehenge acted as a physical mnemonic device. In a culture without a written alphabet, the specific layout of the stones could have served as a physical library, allowing trained practitioners to store and recite complex astronomical and genealogical data. None of these ideas exclude the others. Over its 1,500 years of active use, as generations died and cultures evolved, the monument's purpose likely shifted to serve all of these roles. As for who actually built it, we first have to discard the most persistent myth. You'll often see modern celebrations like the one in this photograph, which are rooted in the popular belief that the Celtic Druids created Stonehenge. That is historically impossible. The Druids emerged as a distinct group around 300 BCE. The major construction on Stonehenge was finished at least 1,000 and possibly 2,000 years before they existed. Recent genetic analysis of human remains found nearby gives us the real builders. The earliest earthworks were dug by Neolithic farmers who migrated to Britain from continental Europe. Then, right around 2500 BCE, exactly when the massive sarsen stones were being placed, a new group from the Eurasian steppes called the Bell Beaker people arrived, and their DNA begins to dominate the local burial record. The site stands as an inherited megaproject, a collaborative effort shaped by successive waves of prehistoric human migration over more than a millennium. Then, sometime around 1500 BCE, the archaeological record at the site simply goes quiet. The builders stopped coming, and whatever specific meaning drove 15 centuries of continuous human effort eventually faded away. Today, more than 1 million visitors travel to the Salisbury Plain every year. But as you can see here, modern tourists are kept confined to a designated path, completely physically separated from the stones. We can trace the DNA of the people who moved these rocks. We can map the sledges they used, and we can measure their solar alignments. But the absolute truth of why they did it remains lost. Some structures aren't meant to be fully understood by the generations that follow. They are simply built to endure. Next time, we are tracking down an entirely different kind of lost architecture, the Amber Room, an entire chamber constructed from 6 tons of pure amber, gold leaf, and gemstones. It was originally built for a Prussian king, gifted to Peter the Great of Russia, violently looted by the Nazis during World War II, and then it completely vanished in 1945. Often called the 8th wonder of the world, this priceless room hasn't been seen in decades. But somewhere out there, locked in a buried bunker, or sitting at the bottom of the sea in a shipwreck, it might still be waiting to be found. See you then.